This is Every Widow Thing.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Every Widow Thing. We're going to be revisiting the topic of dating. But before we get to that, I wanted to do a quick thank you to our dear friend, Laura Hausman. She helped us get our act together recently and form a proper LLC for our little venture here, and we really appreciate her putting in the time and effort. She doesn't want the shout out, but she's getting the shout out anyway. She's a wonderful person, and now we are more legit.
We're legit.
I guess.
Thank
we,
you, Laura.
LLC
got all
legit.
our papers filed.
Yay, thank you, Laura.
So moving on to today's topic. It's not an easy road. You're not alone.
What'd you say, Keira? You had to kiss a lot of
I had to kiss a lot of frogs before I
It's a
found my
numbers
prince.
game, I think. I do think
And I think
that's
it's an
true.
attitude too, but I felt like, gosh, I did this. I played that card so many years because I didn't marry till I was 36. I thought, I don't really want to be doing this again. And then I realized that that's a bad attitude to go into it with.
No, I think that's an excellent point because whatever you're creating, even if you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go on this date. Oh, I'm dreading it. Now you've already colored the whole experience
Absolutely.
and your own energy. So you go in and you're already flat.
I'd even do the little hype talk on the way to the date in the Uber or,
Did you make the Uber driver role play
practice
with
in the
you?
mirror, like what we
I
laughed
mean,
about the other
just
day.
trying to perk myself up, just trying to be posive and open-minded.
Somehow
Even when you're not
enjoy the
feeling it.
process.
Yeah.
Put on fun music when you're getting dressed. I always try to find some music that makes me feel really
Like a glass
sexy
of wine
or
and
good about
just
myself.
Gets you in the mood.
I think you could also, for me in Austin, there's so many fun new places opening up all the time. I would sort of use it as an excuse to explore, go see a band I was interested in, or suggest a new bar or a new restaurant, or something that I wanted to try out. Because then it's like a twofer. Then it's like, well, I'm doing this for me. I'm going to scope this out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a
and it
great
takes
idea.
the pressure off of I'm going to meet my next partner, my soulmate. It
And
takes
it's also
the pressure
not
off
a
of that.
place that I used to go with Frank or where I
Yes.
might run into all my girlfriends because
Right.
it's their place.
I had an epiphany today. I started back therapy. I think I remember Holly saying that sometimes when different things would come up in your life, you would go back to therapy. And I think that's kind of where I got the idea. Maybe I should go back. It's been years since I've done it. And she came up with something today. She was like, I don't know about you guys, but when I met Oliver, it was instantaneous. I got on the elevator, I looked at him, and it just felt like he was a safe place from the moment I met him, and he was good to look at. I kept thinking that's how I know it's my person because it's instantaneous. They're amazing, and right out of the gate and that's how it's always been for me. And she said, well, just what if maybe someone is not tapping into that? She said, some people are like a slow burn and you have to get to know them. And I thought, interesting. I should probably really pay more attention to that because there's a lot of nice people. They just may not be, it might just not be instant,
Well, and you say instant, but the truth is you didn't think that you were going to marry Oliver. You thought he would be your boy toy.
Yes, but
So-
there was that. But I'm talking about sexual
Oh,
energy.
right.
I'm talking about when I first saw him, chemistry was right out of the gate. So today, that's when she said, why don't you get to know them a little better? Maybe their swagger comes out a little later. So it made me start thinking I've got to give people more of a chance. Do you find that when you're out that it's one or the other?
I don't think I have enough experience to give my opinion on it. Okay, the dates that I've been on, I've walked in and been like, nope.
So what do you do? When you walk in and it's a
No,
nope?
I
Do you just go
always give
through
them
it?
my time, no, I've sat down and had a drink or
Six.
an appetizer.
Six
No,
drinks.
I'll never have more than one if I know.
I went out on a date. Well, first of all, this guy, and this is something that you have to realize when you're using these dating apps, is that they can say anything. They can put anything on there. It's not like they have been vetted by a friend or even, the dating app has gone and checked all of their information. They're not getting background checks or anything. So you have to be really careful. But this guy presented himself. He was French. He was an entrepreneur. He was good looking in his pictures, and he, just seemed like a really interesting person. And I didn't do this all the time, but I even had a FaceTime with him for some reason. I can't even remember why, but I agreed to do a FaceTime. Usually I'm just like, no, let's just meet and let me find out if you're even worth the time.
So it wasn't a catfish.
No. So he looked like his pictures from what I could tell from the FaceTime. We agreed to meet in the neighborhood at a place. We went to Hula Hut. This was a couple of summers ago. And one of the things that he put in his profile was that he was a nomad, and that some women, he said something like, I'm a nomad and you need to be comfortable with that. And I was like, I wonder what that means exactly. And I kind of thought it meant, it kind of hit me, but he made me feel like it was just like, I like to move around and whatever. Okay. So now I am sitting at the table at Hula Hut waiting for him. I'm sitting outside in Austin in the summertime. It's warm, right? It's warm out there. And I'm being seated and I get a text from him that says, where are we meeting again? So there's a second red flag. And I'm like, oh no.
And I'm
already sitting there. Yes. So I tell him where we're meeting. And about 10 minutes later, and this is still when we're wearing masks and stuff, right? When you go out until you sit down. I look up and there's this man coming towards me. Now, this is what I'm seeing. He is wearing a very tight, sleeveless workout shirt that is extremely tight. And there is a very large protrusion in the belly area under this extremely tight, like you don't have to wear a tight shirt if you got a little pot belly. It's fine. Just dress appropriately. No. Sleeveless, sweating profusely, and he's wearing a mask. And I'm like, oh no, please.
Oh, that's my ex-boyfriend.
Please, it's not. Please. I just remember thinking, please not him. Please don't let it be him.
He couldn't remember where y'all were meeting, so he ran from wherever
so then
he
he comes up to me and I'm like, oh, hi. Wow. You're sweating. And I'm joking. I'm like, what'd you do? Walk here? And he goes, well, I told you I was a nomad. I didn't walk here, but I biked here. It's like 100 degrees in August. You don't bike to a date.
So does nomad mean you only have a bicycle?
No.
Does
Let
that
me
mean
tell
no
you
car?
what I found out in literally 45 minutes. It was one and done. I had one drink and I was gone. What nomad meant was that he's sleeping on a friend's couch. He doesn't own anything. He has no car, no job.
Yeah,
That's
he's
what
he's no job,
It
no
was
car,
like
no house, no
mad nothing. This is the other thing.
Was he hot? Really?
In his photos,
Nomads would
Getting his
turn me
beauty
off.
sleep on his friend's
no,
couch?
dude, in his photos he was. But then when he shows up and he's wearing a bodysuit, and you see
He swiped his friend's
sweating
son's
profusely,
shirt.
and then he takes
The
his
child's
mask
shirt
off
from the bedroom.
He's missing a tooth. Oh no! He was missing a tooth, you guys. And I had a FaceTime with him, and I'm like, "How did I miss the missing tooth?"
That?
So, needless to say, I was like, "I got to get out of here." Needless to say, I'm pregnant with his
We love
child.
him now.
His nickname is Nomi. Anyway,
He now has a place to live.
no, then and I'm
it.
like, oh, I gotta go. Sorry. He's like, do you want some food? I'm like, no, sorry, I gotta go. And he tries to walk me out to my car, and I'm like, no, where's your bike?
Because
No,
he wants to stay in your car.
I was just, he wants to crash at my place. But what's crazy is,
Oh, man.
cut to the holiday time, and one of my good friends who looks a lot like me. Was in town visiting from Portland. She's also a widow. She comes over to my house to visit, and she talks about how she got on the dating apps and she's going out with this guy named Frederic. And I go, hold up. Is he a nomad? And she was like, yeah, he said something about that. But he's this beautiful French black man. I go, I'm going to stop
No,
you
he's
right
not.
there. Let me tell you about Mr. Nomad. And she was like, there's no way. He's educated. He lived in France. He's done this. And I go, dude, pull up his picture 100%. It's the same guy. And it was. And so I saved her. But it was
He gets
crazy.
around, though. I mean, he gets around wherever, like, keep people's couches.
I think
and
because most
he looks
people
good.
can't believe that. Usually when they look good, I had a
Gets around.
catfish the other day.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us about it.
You can tell by their. I always make them type a little bit more in detail because you can tell by their English skills. If they're like, if they say PhD or an MD and then it doesn't match, this person had like a surgery shirt on. So I was like,
In his photos?
Yeah, in his first
Like
photo.
scrubs?
He was very good. Yeah, scrubs top. And I was like, And I have on there that I'm kind of a nerd for surgery shows because I love to watch surgery shows. I'm a weirdo. I record them all. I watch them over and over and over. I'm a secret nerd. Like I love science stuff. And so he said, well, we have to talk about surgery since I'm a surgeon. And I thought, this guy's not a surgeon.
convenient.
We
I
have
don't
because
buy
all
it.
surgeons say we need to talk about surgeries because I'm a surgeon.
Well, because I had on there those surgery
right,
shows.
that you
So
love
he was
those shows.
pointing that out. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to give him a minute.
And this is
the
all
more
texting.
all texting and through the app, not off the app. Boy, I'm going to Google it. I make them give me their phone number first. And then I put their name and their phone number in, and I just Googled the crazy out of them. And one of my friends makes fun of me, but that's how you stay
I can
safe.
be a private detective if
Yes.
you need help.
But yeah, by now, we can be because you have to. I've had 2 catfish, but as soon as I started calling him out on it, he automatically just
Well, what
went away.
happened? So y'all are texting. He says, "Let's talk about surgeries." And what do you say?
I just keep asking
right, how
him a
about
little bit more about this
appendectomies?
to start. Just mostly, it wasn't even about surgeries in particular. It was just like how he was typing things out. They didn't make sense. It sounded like he would go from talking about what he was doing in Austin because it said a different city. I said, what are you doing here? He started doing this love bombing thing, which wasn't making sense. He was going into, that's how we love people. We love them. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I started to realize, he's a catfish.
wild.
He's catfish. So I started playing with him a little bit and then finally, like I said, you know what? I said, you're not fooling anybody. I know exactly who you are. You're a catfish. Boom, gone.
Gone.
And it happens a lot. So if you're on Bumble, get only people that are verified, or is that Hinge? I'm on those 2.
I don't know. What
But
is
make sure-
verified? How do you get
verified just means
verified?
you
They
have to
show
show a
your driver's
selfie.
license.
You have to show
Oh.
a selfie to their app, and their app approves that you are at least
Oh.
your face matches your photos. But that's a little safer, but just got to ask the questions. And always get their phone number. Always talk to them on the phone before you meet them.
Don't give them your phone
Here's
number.
that's the one
Never.
thing. That's the one thing.
And if you call them, do *67 before you call them, so it doesn't show your phone number.
You can also get a
Google phone number.
yeah.
Yeah. All of those ways are ways of protecting your phone because this guy, he asked for my phone number.
Well, that's
And
what
when
I was going to
said
say.
no, I
yeah.
said I would prefer to have yours, and that's when he checked out because he knew I knew.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she's divorced, but she went to the extreme. She got a burner phone and used that phone number, and she doesn't even use her real name on the apps until after she's met the guy because
That's probably
they
smart.
can stalk you. Having said that, though, if the guy uses a fake name, we're all like, ooh, this isn't right. I don't trust you. So it's a fine
which
line.
apps because I was having this conversation with you guys the other night about people that lie about their age. I feel like the apps I was on, they went through Facebook.
They go
so
you
couldn't
sign it,
really
yeah.
lie about your name or your age.
Well, you can if you lied on Facebook. My mom is 107 on Facebook.
You can go through Facebook.
good.
All of
Good,
them,
right?
You can lie about your age, but one of them called me out online. I did 2 years off, shaved 2 years off because I wanted to make it into the 10-year. They do 10 years. Most people do a 10-year, and then the joke is that when he got upset with me, I told him immediately what my real age was, and he was getting all indignant. Like women lie about that all the time. And he stood up. I said, "Well, you're not 6 feet either." He was like 5'10" on a good day. And the bartender goes, I'm buying you a shot for that one because that was funny. He was so indignant. I was like, oh my God. So from then on, I decided I'm not going to shave 2 years off, which how does 2 years even make any
this
difference?
is problematic for all the women I've talked to, and I even noticed it when I first got on there. I was 42, and I think I had my parameters like 40 to 50 or something like that. And then I found out later that many of the men that were my age, and my husband was 4 years older, so I didn't mind dating older men, but all the men my age had like 30 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm over here at 42, and maybe they're 45, but they're not looking for me or matching with me. And I never changed my age, but I found that really frustrating and kind of gross.
Well, it gets weirder as you get older than that, much older than that. they do it, but we can't, right?
Well, I would disagree. I mean, yes, that is what they say, but we can do it.
I think that for the men, though, if they have 30 to 40 and you're 45, they're not going to see you.
Right.
Which is a real shame because, I've met people that are in great shape, older than me, that are in great shape for their age and vice versa. I just think young people can deceive you as well. And what's interesting to me that I've talked about with men subsequently is if you're a man in your 40s and 50s and maybe you have kids that are older, when you're dating 20s and 30s, are you prepared to have another child? Are
Right.
you prepared to go down that? I mean, is it just for fun, which maybe it is? Or, if you get serious with someone young, are you ready to have a baby with that person? Because that's the predicament that they put themselves in.
Well, I'm even funny about I don't want to go out with anybody that doesn't have kids that are out of the house because now I'm finally an empty nester. The last thing I want to do is go back and have to go through that again.
You
I mean,
don't
I
want a
finally have
baby?
freedom.
I do.
I love babies, but I want to be a grandmother one day, not anytime soon.
Okay, what
Ryder.
about men that have grandchildren?
I'm okay with that. I mean, as long as they're not. I mean, I've never been out with anybody older than I am. Actually, this will be my first date on Thursday that the person's older than I am.
And
So
how
that'll
did you
be-
vet them? What did you do before? Was this is the first date for this?
He's probably going to hear this because now he knows about it. But I Googled, I got his phone number. I Googled him. Everything he said about himself absolutely added up. And he has his life is not traditional. He's lived in a lot of different countries through his job. So it just seems like a really nice person. And the more you talk to someone, you kind
Sure.
of get the gist
And you've
of
talked
it.
on the phone?
A lot, quite a lot.
See, it's funny. I just wanted to let's just meet, and because I'm going to get a better feel for the whole package.
That's what
I
I used
talked
to
on the
do.
phone.
I felt that way too,
One-
even
to
if it was
one
just
guy.
coffee.
Oh, well, I did that until it got really tired of, as one of my guy friends says, wasting the pretty. Go to Blast Blow Dry. Yes, I gave him a shout out. Go get your hair done, and you get all cute, and then you go meet them. You're like when Holly walked the door, she's like, it's a no.
Nope.
That was really frustrating. So at least if you talk on the phone, you know that they're great conversationalists. You know that they're really good people. And if nothing else, like I said, if nothing else on Thursday doesn't work out, they're a really nice person and they're interesting. They've lived all over the world. So I'll have fun with them. But I'm not going to go out on any more dates where I don't talk to them on the phone.
Holly, what you said you only talked on the phone to one guy?
Before
Or-
we met. All the many dates I've been on. I'm kidding. No, he asked if we could talk, but we did it through the app.
Oh, you can talk through which app?
I've never done that. How does that work?
It was through Bumble.
Oh, you can call them
They've
on
added
Bumble.
some features.
Is it like a FaceTime? Is it FaceTime like, or is it just voice?
Look,
was
check all their
voice.
teeth if you're doing a FaceTime.
I think it was both. I don't know. We did not do FaceTime, but we talked on the phone for like
a couple of hours.
Hours.
Yeah, I remember.
Was that good? Did that date turn out to be good?
yes, we went out a few times and then I got the fraud email.
Wait,
Wait,
explain it.
I don't know this.
Okay.
Do I?
We went out to like a concert and then I went out on his boat and
You talked on the phone with
we
him
talked
several
on the phone
times.
like often.
He
It
seemed
wasn't
very
just one
into you.
time.
Right.
It wasn't just a one-time phone call.
I know
And
this story.
then
Everything
I
was going great, and then you get an email.
This
I
was
was
the
having
handsome,
fun.
This was the handsome boat guy from a long time ago. I didn't hear the fraud thing. I didn't hear that part. Everybody
So I
seems to
got
know
an
it except me.
email about that he was taken off of Bumble because of fraud. And so I tried to call him.
First, you reached out to Bumble, right, to try to see what that meant.
I could not figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I did all this research. Yeah, how can that happen? So I couldn't get any information, and then I called him, and then I didn't hear from him until the next day, and he got upset with me for thinking that he was a fraud, and like kind of threw it back at me.
Gaslighting you.
And
Whitney.
I was like-
Guilty.
he was like, my feelings are hurt that you would even think that this would be real. And you're like, it's
And
an
I was
email
even, like,
from
kind of
Bumble.
laughing about it. I was like, I just wanted you to know. I thought you should know about it. And
So he got kicked off of Bumble.
Did you ever find out why?
no.
Why did he get
And
kicked
I
off?
saw him again after that. A few weird things happened, but
You didn't go
I
on the
had
boat
seen.
with him by yourself after that.
No, I did that before.
No, but after the fraud, you didn't go on the boat.
No, but when I did go on the boat, Whitney knew. Whitney had a picture.
had her
of his
location.
no, you had a picture of his driver's license.
Yeah, I said send me his driver's license.
and his address and everything.
So he gets all ruffled
Here's-
about the fraud
He got
accusation.
yes,
But
and-
you're like, it's cool. Let's
and then,
go out again.
And then he was.
Here's what it was.
He
Bumble
was
wasn't
still a nice guy.
He said,
and you're making
No. I was around. I was with you during this whole process.
you were.
And he came back and said, look, I don't know why that would have happened. Maybe I upset a woman because I didn't like her
Yeah.
and she liked me. Because I have reported people. You can report people on Bumble for
But
certain
I knew,
things. She'd been to his
I
house.
knew his
She's-
kids' names.
Yeah.
I had not been to his house.
Oh, my
So
bad.
what had
His
he
boat.
said about
His
that?
houseboat.
What did he say was the
He-
reason, or was it because somebody just didn't like him? And
That's what he thought.
He was like, I don't know
don't
anything
know.
about it. Maybe
Did you go
Basically,
out with him after that?
I saw him
Jilted woman.
probably one more time, and then I let it go because I was not really.
Well, he started
he
acting
was fun,
weird.
but there was some weird red flags, and I was like, I was kind of bored, so I was like, okay, well,
Or the weird red flag.
Well,
It's
like,
always helpful to know.
super lovey-dovey quick.
he wanted me to come to his house, and
was a
then
love
got,
bomber.
He got mad at me when I wouldn't, and he was just moving too fast.
And he seemed to get his feelings hurt easily. And
he
you're
had
like,
been
what?
cheated on. That's why he was divorced. There was just
The biggest red flag for me in that whole scenario was how he responded later about being called out. And he was like, I don't think I want to be with someone who wouldn't trust me. And you're like,
that's a
what?
gaslighter. Those are always
Yeah,
scary.
exactly.
Yeah, you're like, I've known you for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I
yeah.
got a legitimate email from Bumble.
Holly's got something to contribute.
no. I was just gonna add that another guy that I dated was like jealous of my relationship with Toby and said I've never had a relationship like that ever. And I'm like, well, who's to say you can't have it now?
Did he know Toby, or was this just what you
No.
told him about your relationship, and that's what he based
What
it on?
he is divorced, and so he knew I had a healthy, loving relationship with Toby, and he was like comparing our relationships.
That had to be awkward.
If someone is jealous of your dead husband, bye. If someone tells you, well, I'm really messed up, bye.
I remember one guy that I went out with. He seemed like such a great guy, and I'm sure he is, but this was early on in the dating process, after, I guess, one of my first couple of dates after 3 years in or whatever. But the whole night he just kept going. It was a beat down about the ex-wife. And at the very end, after I'd been listening all this time, and I'm new to dating, so I'm just like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. So I'm listening to him, and at the very end I said, you owe me $300. And he said, what? And I said, for all the therapy I just gave you. And
yeah,
it was
I would have had to walk out on that one. I mean, not that I've been on that many dates, but the ones I haven't dated anybody that
just
bashed their ex.
he just kept going on, and we would talk about other things, but it would always kind of weave back in. So when I said that, he just kind of was, and then he was kind of an arrogant guy. Okay, flash forward probably 5 or 6 years later, I run into him, and we have a mutual friend, which I had no idea they knew him. And he said, and I thought, oh my God, I'm about to hear it. And he came up to me, he said, I have to thank you. And he said, I'm really sorry that I did that. He said, but you made me realize that I wasn't in a good place to be dating. And so he goes, I got off the apps after that for a while.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I said, wow, I appreciate you saying that, because that took a lot of courage and a lot of depth to be able to acknowledge. But I also know
And
that
then was he like, what are you doing tonight?
No.
All right, here's the question. because there's a lot of dating apps out there. So let's just run through them quickly and give your thoughts on it. So eHarmony, I'm not on it. I wasn't on it. What do you think?
Yes, I've gotten on it. No, don't waste the money because I wasn't going to get on it. And then I kept getting an email. It's this much a month. It's this much a month. And it kept going down and down. And I'm like, okay, well, what the heck?
It's now $1.
I was bored one day.
You're like,
and
I'm
it's
in.
like, there's not very many choices.
And you do. One of the things that I thought I would like about it was you fill out a lot of information.
Personality profile.
Right.
Which is really good information. But then I'm
Then
like,
they didn't
oh,
match
I
you.
have 3 guys to choose from.
Right. All right.
2 3/4.
Then Match, because Match is similar to eHarmony.
It has a lot of data on there.
It's a lot of people to sift through.
I was on Match first, and it stressed me out. I would get so many messages. It was just overwhelming.
Well, let me give him one good thing about it. That was how I met the guy that I got engaged to. So one relationship resulted from that. But the one thing I found that I liked about it is that you can put a zip code. Like if you want to travel to a place, you can put in the zip code.
So
ahead
it's
of
not like
time.
It's not like you're traveling and you're wherever you are. You
Just
see
put
the
in
people.
the zip code
Oh, that's
of
nice.
where you're maybe going to be.
That
I
is
think
a good
I shared that
thing.
with you, and
You did.
Didn't you do that? Did you go out with that person in
No,
Colorado?
I did not. But you did show me how to do that.
Yeah,
So I
that's
thought
nice.
that's kind of cool about it. And you can, and then Bumble. The problem with that is that it only will do that once you're there. You
Right,
can't do
it's
it
a
ahead
travel
of time
thing.
to set up
Yeah.
an appointment with
Yeah.
or set a date with somebody.
Y'all, I got
but-
busted, on Bumble because I was dating
Fraud.
someone.
A Bumble bust.
Fraud.
I
Were you
was dating
fraudulent?
someone. I was fraudulent. I was dating someone. I mean, it was new. We'd been on a few dates, but we were connecting. And then I actually had someone from my past who wanted to go on a trip. And I was like, sure. I mean, because I was like, yes, girl, back then. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do all the things. And
Oh my God.
I get a text from the other guy, the first guy. Hey, I went back on the app. This was Bumble. He said, I'm seeing that you're in Mexico City.
My phone got stolen.
Well, did you ask him why he was back on the app?
Oh, he was like, I was just looking back at your pictures, or I don't know.
Liar.
yeah, that's
but-
good, Holly. Ask him that. Put it back on him. 'cause
I was
that's
completely
weird.
honest with him. I was like, there is no way I'm covering this up. I mean, how am I?
But you didn't have to be with someone else. You're just like, yeah, I'm in Mexico City. You don't have to be like, I'm having
My
a
phone was
wild
stolen.
tryst.
Guys,
I just came
I have a funny
clean.
one.
I
Wait,
came
now,
clean.
Related to Bumble too. So, fraud guy. Before I knew he was fraud, and we'd been on like one date, but we, talking on the phone a lot. I added pictures to my profile.
Oh, that's
And
right.
his friend saw me on Bumble and showed him my picture. Then he
so
got
he thinks you're still working it.
well. I was.
You were.
And I mean, we'd been on one date,
I know, but that
and
makes them mad.
he got mad at me for
He just seems like he just
updating.
gets
He's like, I
mad.
thought you took that picture to send to me.
And you're like,
Was it a
Well, I
sexy-
have
was
a
it a
question
sexy
for you,
picture?
girls.
No,
What-
it was a.
well, let's
cute
finish.
profile
What do we
picture.
have left? So, Hinge.
Hinge is another one. They're all kind of similar.
I like
and-
Hinge the best.
I met Brendan on Hinge.
I thought it
Hinge.
seemed.
We got
maybe,
hinged.
Maybe I need to try it again
Shout
because
out
I
to
thought
Hinge.
it seemed a little bit sleazy.
A lot of the
that's-
guys are the same. I've
Right.
seen, especially if
Maybe
you're
that's it, too.
looking for a certain type. A lot of the guys are the same on all of them, and I had to laugh. Like the league, they act like,
Oh,
oh, you got
yeah.
in the league,
Right.
And when I got in, the first like several photos, honestly, with the same
That
people
happened to
that
me,
I had.
too.
One of them I'd already been out with. And
Yeah,
I was like,
me
really,
too.
this
That's
is
so
so
funny.
special.
I thought Tinder was like the slutty one.
That's what
It's
it used
supposed
to be.
but I don't think it's. I actually had some good dates on that one.
Yeah,
too.
I think that is the most popular one. If you
because you don't have to
want,
put your age on there. That's
maybe
fine.
so. And
you
so
can pay for it and hide your age.
oh,
I never did Tinder, but
I never did
I was always
Tinder.
afraid that it was just kind of hookups.
I
and-
dated a guy through the pandemic that through Tinder, and he wasn't my forever guy, but he was a really nice person. He's from Florida, and it was
the girl that gives a fake name and has a burner phone. She uses Tinder, and she's met all kinds of interesting people.
Of course she does.
Right. But it's like, I'm going out with the neuroscientist.
My fraudulent friend who has the burner phone for dating.
Well, I want to ask a question of us. Like, this puts it back on us too. Like, what did you do on a date that you're kind of like a little bit embarrassed about? Have you guys done anything that you're like, oh my gosh, if I could just take that back?
Yes, but I'm not discussing it on.
You're not?
Same.
Okay.
I haven't. The only thing that I think of, it's not in the vein that you're thinking. It's like a guy on the date asked me how I thought the date was going. And I knew it was going terribly for me. And I wish that I would have said, it's not going well and good day, sir.
Well, then, okay, since nobody wants to answer
But
that.
I didn't like mug down with someone in a parking lot or bathroom.
What do you, I always have all these little
Why are you
scenarios
looking
in my
at me?
head.
You're just in front of me. I'm not looking at you.
I always have these scenarios in my head of the things I would love to do, kind of like an SNL skit. Go out on a date and you have a different accent.
Oh, right. That would
Like
be
do
fun.
a British accent and wear something that's just wildly inappropriate just because it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Don't you think it'd be kind of funny to show up and be a completely different person, but this town is so small?
That's
so
funny.
those are
But
my
you could
SNL
do
skits
that.
in my head.
But you could do that without getting on a dating app. You just get dressed up, you put your accent on, and you go somewhere, and you're that character
I
all
think
night.
Whitney's has done this before.
I do it with people I'm actually dating.
It's called role playing.
It's called role playing. And on that note, have fun out there, you guys.
So it
Dating's
wasn't
hard.
you mugging down in the bathroom. It was your
It
character.
was Veronica.
She was in character. She is an actress, by the way. So she was doing her method acting.
I like to keep it fresh. Anywho, just remember, because I think it is easy to get frustrated and then you just want to get off of everything. You do have to kind of put yourself out there a lot. But you also need to set your boundaries. Don't give anybody your phone number. What are you cracking up about?
Unless you're a polygamist. That
Oh my
show
gosh.
with the sister wives.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're one of those.
Some people put that on there.
They're open or polyamorous.
Yeah, they say
or-
open marriage.
I've
I've
Google
seen that.
words.
marriage.
I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I will give a little bit of advice that I got from my fiance and from other men. They really are looking for authenticity. They talked a lot about the filters,
Yeah.
the makeup, the posing, and the
Old
things.
photos.
Yeah, older
Yeah.
photos. And then just playing games too. I guess there are a lot of women that'll make a plan and cancel at the last minute or insist on only like this restaurant because it's expensive and fancy. And
What?
Well, and that's rude.
it is rude.
That's right, Holly.
Anyway, listen, we are
Don't
just
hold up
a wealth
giant
of knowledge
fish
here.
if you're a dude,
Right.
don't hold up some
Please
fish that you
don't.
caught.
We don't need to see your fish. And why does everybody have to be parachuting and jumping out? I don't
What?
want to go on a crazy date. I just want to have a drink. Haven't you noticed they all like this is
I've
what it
never
looked like
seen
dating
one
me.
person jumping out of a plane on there.
I
Jumping
think
out
they're
of
trying
an
to show they're
airplane.
adventurous, but I can't tell you how
Right.
many. And again, it's been a minute, but there were photos of profiles I saw on Bumble where it's just the dog. I mean, it's the dude and the
don't wanna
dog,
date the
but then
dog?
the next picture is just
Or
the next
landscape
three might
photos.
just be the dog.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
I'm going,
It's
I'm
like-
not dating your dog.
No, and if you are on there
Weird.
and the guy only has one photo, swipe left.
Or if it's only in the bathroom. swipe
Oh
left.
man,
Do
please
not.
can we
They've
get
got
rid
no
of the
friends.
bathroom photos?
Like,
Or
why-
the gym mirror.
you know what makes me mad?
We can tell if you work out just if you just show a
Oh
nice
my
photo of your
gosh.
body.
I
We don't need
don't
to see you in the gym
agree.
like grunting
Yes,
through it.
SMU professor
Grunting
that
through
wore a
it.
towel.
That's so true. Can we
many
just get
weirdos.
rid of the
so
gym
trashy. The gym
photos
mirror.
and the bathroom mirror with
Just have
you
a
holding
friend
your
take
phone?
a photo of you if that's how bad it is.
Agreed. And on that
Okay.
note,
On
that
everyone,
Let's get on and
we hope
swipe
that we have
right.
helped you in your dating adventures.
And send us some of the things that have happened to you. We love to hear them.
Lacey wants
Send
the
us your
dirt.
wild stories.
I love it.
Have you dated a
Someone
nomad
to commiserate with.
Steer clear of
Toothless?
anyone that calls themselves
with
a
a missing
nomad.
tooth?
And don't go to a date sweating profusely. All right, I could go on. We're going to end it there. Go like us on Instagram. Follow us on whatever platform you listen to our podcast on. And share us. We're not just for widows.